Lots of details about the cancelled Spider-Man multiplayer game have appeared online, just like PS5 Pro leaks that seem to be legit. We got new game announcements and way more gaming news to go over. So let's go. We got a date for Summer Game Fest on June 7th. Jeff Keighley will take the stage for a show that will feature new video game announcements, first looks, and trailers. Last year we got the reveal for Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, the release date for Spider-Man 2, gameplay reveals for Alan Wake 2 and Mortal Kombat 1, and a big Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer at the end. So it was a pretty decent show. And I think we can already guess what will probably show up this year. Like a high chance we see Black Myth Wukong that currently has an August 20th date. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 actually had a trailer last year as well, so I totally expect it to show up here because it's now expected September 9th. And I'm sure we will see something from the Elden Ring DLC that will launch a few weeks after the show on June 21st. And we could totally get another look at Assassin's Creed Red here. And I say another look because we probably first get the big reveal in April or May. Like that's of course what always happens. We get big game reveals in April or May for titles that will come out in the second half of the year. And then they will show up during Summer Game Fest as well. Star Wars Outlaws is of course another question mark that we will hear more about soon. We at least know that Microsoft will have an Xbox showcase in June with Indiana Jones, Avowed, and more of their titles. Dragon Age Dreadwolf will get a reveal in the summer with a release date for later in the year, and high chance Sony will do something around this May-June window as well, like they did the previous years too. Yes, we will probably like high chance see Ghost of Tsushima 2 there. Now let me know what you hope to see during Summer Game Fest. I will of course keep you posted here and do my predictions closer to the event. And we could totally see one of the many new Dungeons and Dragons games there. Like this week a new one was announced from the creators behind Disney Dreamlight Valley, and this team at Gameloft also made many Dungeon Hunter games. So they're now making a new PC and console game based on the legendary Dungeons and Dragons IP. It should bring a unique cooperative gameplay built around an innovative hybrid of survival, life simulation, and action RPG. So it kind of sounds like Disney Dreamlight Valley and also like Enshrouded, the popular new survival game that just launched, but then in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. No release indication was given, but they're hiring for the project, so it will probably still be some time. We also know about a Dungeons and Dragons co-op live service game in the works at Starbreeze, the studio behind Payday, and this one is planned for 2026. Again, tons of D&D projects are in the works, like Baldur's Gate 3 of course really showed that there's a big audience for it. So we will have to wait and see if these other games hit as well. Now let's go over details regarding a game that is not happening anymore. We got the PS5 Pro leaks and way more news to go over. Of course, if you like the video so far, leaving a like would really help me out. So thanks for that. And of course subscribe because I post one of these gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. We already knew that Insomniac at one point was working on Spider-Man: The Great Web, a PS5 live service title like GTA Online, but now brand new details got leaked for this cancelled game. So I won't be showing the footage from the 1-minute trailer that is going around, but I can scroll through this article from Insider Gaming where we see a shot of 5 players, all with their own Spider-Person, including Gwen, and the idea was that you would fight the Sinister Six together and other bad guys that return to New York through the multiverse. Like there were the regular crimes you could do together, but also raids against huge bosses like Mysterio. So a lot of PvE, but they also wanted to do PvP like races. So who is the fastest? Swing to this point on the map, and the person that reaches that first wins. Now a really cool feature in Spider-Man 2 is of course running into Miles or other characters while doing crimes in the open world. So the fact that that could actually be another player is pretty awesome. Or like swinging around New York together, like co-op in the Insomniac Spider-Man games as a separate mode, I think would be a lot of fun. But the Great Web was supposed to be much more. I also looked at a presentation for the game that got leaked where they were talking about revenue targets that had to be similar to Apex or half of Fortnite. They would do 90-day seasons, but only have 5 to 10 hours of brand new content. Characters would be divided into different classes, and you would get like new gadgets and skills as upgrades. Look, I like the Spider-Man combat and gameplay, but I don't think it would have a long tail similar to other live service games. Look for example at the superhero live service games like Avengers and Suicide Squad that all failed. Also, suddenly asking money to unlock brand new suits that were free in the single player game is probably going to cause more issues than you would want. So I think it's cute that people started a petition to bring the Great Web back, but this was never going to work on the level they wanted, and it would cause Insomniac to become a studio solely focused on supporting this game, which would of course hurt their single player output. So yeah, I think they made the right choice cancelling this, but I still hope we see a co-op option, like separate from the single player story in Spider-Man 3 for example. Like that would really create this fresh wind that I think the third game is going to need. Maybe have it be similar to the Ghost of Tsushima Legends multiplayer that had like tens of hours of content, maybe do like small updates afterwards to add a new mode, but after that move on from it. So then we can still experience the Spider-Man world from Insomniac with other players, but it does not have to be a lifestyle or something that consumes us. I would at least be down, but let me know if you would play a Spider-Man multiplayer mode or game in the comments. I just think it's good to know that they wanted the Great Web to be something that was probably never going to work. But if we spin this into a good thing, Sony is not afraid to cancel their big live service games. We of course had many already, as you see right here. So I think that does mean that they see something in the Horizon Online project that is of course still going ahead. So I'm holding my fingers crossed. I can't wait to see it, hopefully in the next few months. Let's go over some quick shots. News stories I will go over quickly. Like we know where Stick, the game director on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor and the older God of War titles, is going to. He left Respawn in September last year, and well, he started his own studio called Giant Skull and is working on a AAA, single player focused action adventure title. He brought some people over from the Jedi series to this new studio, and people who worked on other big games like Fortnite have also joined. And again, instead of making a live service game like many of these new studios are doing, they're going for a single player game instead. So I think that's good news. I will be keeping an eye out. I hope it works out, and will of course keep you posted here. An amazing single player game that was in my top 3 of last year, Final Fantasy XVI, is in the final stages of optimization for PC, with a demo coming before release. And I think that's good news because Square Enix kind of has a problem. Also looking at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like both games are easily on the level of other big PlayStation exclusives in terms of quality and budget, but they get nowhere near the sales. Like diehard fans are buying a few million day one, but then the sales drop off 90% in the second week in Japan and 89% in the UK, which is way more than usual. So basically the series has a hard time attracting new people. Like Rebirth sales are down 34% over the remake launch, so it's hard to see the third game do even better. Similar, Final Fantasy XVI sold 3 million in a week, but it disappeared from the charts after that, with it not meeting the high-end expectations from Square Enix. And this is not great for the biggest franchise that you as a company have. Now luckily the MMO is doing great, but they, for the single player titles, have to do something to appeal to a new audience, while we of course see with Capcom and Dragon's Dogma 2, that game is getting a lot of hype. Like that game will sell way better than the previous Final Fantasy titles. Curious to hear your take about this in the comments down below. And real quick, that Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection we talked about in a previous Sunday video, well, it's a big flop. It has overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam because, for one, it only featured 3 servers that could fit 192 players for the first Battlefront game, while 20,000 people were trying to play it. And it's also a 64-player multiplayer game, 32 in each team, but you only need 100 kills per team to win. So these games are really short because that would be like 3 kills per player. Lots of issues, while this could have been an easy win. So yeah, maybe it's good that Aspire Media, responsible for this port, is not handling the Old Republic remake, and probably why it switched developers to Saber Interactive, who are seemingly still working on it, although if it will ever see the light of day, it won't be for a very long time. Now we will get the PS5 Pro way before that point, namely holiday 2024, and I'm ready for it. And that kind of feels weird to say because it also feels like we're still early in the PS5 life cycle, especially because many games were still launching on PS4 after the PS5 was out. But what we're now seeing with these current gen only games is that reaching 60 FPS can be an issue. Like Dragon's Dogma 2 is stuck at 30 to 31 frames according to this IGN video. Now that won't stop me from playing it, because I think if you never experienced that certain game in 60, then 30 is fine as well, but still, going back to 30 after getting used to 60 FPS is kinda hard. And well, we got some new leaks from Moore's Law is Dead about the PS5 Pro that Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming now confirmed to be real. So let's go over them. We're looking at the fact that it's rendering 45% faster than the normal PS5, which will increase the frame rate, and this should mostly be used to help games reach that 60 FPS more often while keeping more of the visual fidelity. But this will also help games get to that 120 FPS when using the variable refresh rate. IGN did some testing, and we see that with VRR enabled, most PS5 games like Spider-Man and Ratchet still cap at that 88-90 FPS range, so this extra power with the PS5 Pro should help it reach the 120 frames. Ray tracing on console also has not really taken off, simply because it's not on the same level as PC, but the PS5 Pro should include 2 to 3 times faster ray tracing to help improve the reflections on console. Let's hope I can now enable it while still maintaining a 60 FPS, although that will probably still be challenging because that's currently also the case on PC. The PS5 Pro should also have over triple the teraflop performance over the regular PS5, but most interesting is the new PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. This machine learning tech that will use AI to create better image quality. Sony says it looks better than TAAU and VSR2, and it, for example, also includes dynamic input resolution, so the resolution can change on the fly to improve the frame rate, and then upscaling tech will be used so you still output at a proper resolution. So even without the jump from 1080p to 4K, which was of course the selling point from the PS4 Pro, it still seems that this will include quite some cool tech to give us more of that next-gen experience that, again, we haven't really had this generation so far. And the PS5 Pro could be huge in combination with GTA 6. I think I said it before, but of course Rockstar games always launch at 30 FPS on console, but what if the PS5 Pro is the only platform capable of running the game at 60 FPS at launch, because the PC release is of course coming later. And yeah, it's going to be a very expensive machine, 600, maybe even like $700, and of course it's always worth noting that this won't mean that the games won't run great on the regular PS5, just better on PS5 Pro. I'm getting one day one. Of course, let me know if you are the audience for this in the comments down below, and I will keep you up to date here. This coming week is going to be very exciting. We got 2 major games dropping on March 22nd, with one of them of course being Dragon's Dogma 2. We have big plans for it, so keep it locked to the channel. And of course, Rise of the Ronin is the other one. I will have my spoiler-free review up on March 21st. We will stream the game, and I plan to do some tips and tricks as well. Of course, I already did my impressions after playing 5 hours. You can watch that by clicking on the screen. And we'll of course do a big gaming news roundup video like this at the end of the week. So subscribe to not miss it all. A like would really help me out, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.